Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the Premier Football Podcast on PFP Media. Today we're going to focus on Manchester City and Pep Guardiola. We're ready to go. Joe, how are you feeling?
I'm good, Rafe. It's actually my wedding anniversary. Third wedding anniversary.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Happy anniversary.
You should. You were best man. So yeah, thank you very much. Yeah. But yeah, so very good. But the weather is just, I hate the wind. I had to cycle my son to creche this morning uphill into the wind with rain pouring down. It was a very miserable start to the day. So I haven't quite recovered from that yet. A cheeky glass of Prosecco after we wrap up this might change things. It probably will.
The cycle back up to the crash might be a bit wobbly later on.
It might, yeah. Don't think, yeah. That's why I need the Prosecco.
Otherwise, the Prosecco might make you a bit wobbly.
Right. No, I think if anything, the Prosecco will straighten me out, and the cycle back up to crash will be a hell of a lot easier.
Okay, Joe. Well, look, speaking of bubbles and Prosecco and celebrations, let's start at the top and let's talk about Manchester City. They are now 10 points clear at the top of the table of City rivals Manchester United and of their namesman. What's the word for namesmanship? When someone has the same name as you. There's a word for it. Their namesake.
Namesake,
yes. Leicester City, yes. Apologies. Yeah, 10 points clear at the top of the table anyway after 25 games. They're absolutely steamrolling it, absolutely cruising it. But there's been an interesting discussion on social media this week as to which current Premier League manager will leave the greatest legacy. And as you can imagine, it's been heavily contested between Jurgen Klopp and Pep Guardiola.
Which current,
yeah. Look, we're not counting Sir Alex Ferguson in this, and obviously what Mourinho has done has been done in the past. We will talk a bit about Mourinho and Spurs later on, but something that I know I've been annoying everyone in our WhatsApp group with this week is the Pep Guardiola question. Has he succeeded at Manchester City? And I don't mean has he succeeded across his career. Has the job that he's done at Manchester City been a success? And the reason I'm asking the question, that it might sound obvious for someone that's won so many trophies. The job he was hired to do is to win the Champions League, is to bring that European success to Manchester City and to validate that project that they have going on there. It's been 10 years since Guardiola has made a Champions League final. Does all of the domestic success make up for the lack of that coveted trophy?
He's won 8 trophies since he took charge of Manchester City. All domestic. He was the first manager to ever win a domestic treble, to the proper domestic treble. I'm not talking about the Mourinho domestic treble or domestic double of the Community Shield and the League Cup or whatever it is that he won with. Did he even win that with United? I think he might have done. I think he won the Europa League, the League Cup, and the Charity Shield. Anyway, Pep was the first manager in history to win the FA Cup, the Premier League, and the League Cup. Obviously, he also won he's won the Charity Shield twice. Of course, he succeeded at Manchester City. Yes, there is he still has time to win the Champions League. Yes, he hasn't won it yet. The Champions League is difficult. It's historically a trophy that old prestigious clubs win, and City don't fall into that category. City are of the PSGs although Chelsea obviously won it. That's one recent exception. But I mean, it's a very difficult trophy to win. He's completely changed City, made them into the dominant force. This is going to be his third Premier League title. It's more than likely that he wins the League Cup as well, which would be his 4th League Cup. He's won a League Cup in each of his seasons, and you'd fancy them to win the FA Cup as well. Of course, he should be, it would be complete if he won the Champions League. I think we'd be talking about him in the same conversation as Sir Alex Ferguson. But the level that he has made this City side play at domestically is something that we haven't seen since Sir Alex's since the last time Manchester United won 3 leagues in a row. I would say with that Ronaldo, Rooney, and Tevez team, the 2008-9, that they won 3 in a row.
Do other continental powerhouses get away Or do the managers of other continental powerhouses get the same kind of praise for clean sweeping domestic trophies in Germany with Bayern Munich, in Spain with Barcelona, in
It's
Scotland with
easier.
Celtic? But
It's
Joe,
easier.
is it easier though? Because
Yes,
when one financial powerhouse has considerably greater resources than
they
everybody else in the
don't.
league, what do you mean they don't?
They don't have a monopoly on the league. They don't buy the league's best talent like Bayern Munich do. If Bayern Munich see Bayern Munich pick off Borussia Dortmund's players historically, Lewandowski, Götze, they've just done it with Upamecano of RB Leipzig. If Bayern Munich see a talented player in a rival, they take them, and they do it ruthlessly. City can't do that. I mean, they've done it they got Sanya from Arsenal, Clichy from Arsenal, Sterling from Liverpool, but they paid very good money for Sterling. And the two Arsenal fullbacks I mentioned, one was they were both either out of contract or going towards the end of their contract. They don't have a monopoly on the league. They've been outbidded for players by other teams. Harry Maguire is an obvious one. He was heavily linked with City. City wouldn't go to £80 million. I think they made the right decision, but they were still outmuscled financially by Manchester United. And Manchester United are not the only club who could outmuscle Manchester City. City have never paid. I think Ruben Diaz is their highest transfer fee ever, for just a touch under £70 million. Liverpool have gone over that twice. Chelsea have gone over that. Even Arsenal have gone over that. Spurs have almost got to that with Ndombele. So it's not that City have the highest collection of like 40-50 million pound players, but they don't go to that very top bracket.
Their matchday squad was worth over £750 million the other day.
I'm not surprised. Like I said, every player they seem to buy is worth 30, 40, 50 million pounds. They spend a lot of money, but they don't have a monopoly on the league.
The teams at the bottom of the league, say Brighton, for example, who have the lowest budget in the league, would be expected to go down, because they would be expected to be relegated because they put the lowest amount into their club. The teams with the most amount of money are expected to finish at the top of the table, and the team that spends the most money would be expected to win the league. So if Manchester City are expected to win the league every season, Pep is doing what's expected. The bare minimum for Man City is to win domestic trophies. I would say, if we talk about players, if we talk about Haaland and Mbappe and these guys looking for moves, it's said that it's less important these days which domestic league they play in. Whether they're winning domestic leagues in Spain or in France or Germany, it doesn't matter. These guys all want to prove themselves in the Champions League. That's what it's all about now for players. And I think that's what it's all about for managers as well. You want to prove yourself against the best of the best week in, week out. And that's where you want to measure yourself.
Look at Liverpool. Liverpool have done it a different way. They've still spent money, but the money that they spent was raised from extremely sensible sales of their best players and reinvested almost perfect. No, in fact, reinvested perfectly in the case of Van Dijk and Alisson. Those transfers were brilliant, but they paid £150 million combined for those two players. Liverpool also have a world-class manager. They have developed what is one of the best front threes in Europe over the past 5 years. And not just Liverpool, but if you look at the amount of money Chelsea have, the quality of players that they've had over the past 5 years, the amount of money Manchester United have spent, the quality of players that they have had, even Spurs and Arsenal have good squads, have had good squads recently. Leicester City have broken into the top six. Wolves have been very, very competitive. Last season showed that City are not always perfect, but they bounced back absolutely phenomenally. And Rafe, there was a time earlier on in the season where no one was giving them a chance. I mean, after 10 games, everyone thought it was Liverpool's, or there are some people who thought that Spurs might be in the title race, and how that has changed. But see, this is not I just don't think this is comparable to La Liga, to Ligue 1, or to the Bundesliga. There's just too much unpredictability. There's too much quality elsewhere in the Premier League, and this is a huge credit to Pep Guardiola and Manchester City that they've managed to be this dominant domestically over the past 3-4 years.
Okay, for the record, I'm not having a go at what Guardiola's done domestically. I know that other great English teams haven't done it. There have been other financial powerhouses, Blackburn, Chelsea, Manchester United, whoever it was, and we've never seen this kind of domestic dominance. So yeah, absolutely, he has done a brilliant job at Manchester City. But I suppose the question I'm asking is, has he done the job that he was hired to do? If you're hired to get a championship team promoted, you can't turn around at the end of the season and say, oh, well, I won the FA Cup and the League Cup, so this season was a success. Because ultimately, he's not hit the main ambition. He has never made a Champions League semi-final with Manchester City. The furthest City have made it is the semi-final in 2016 under Pellegrini.
He made a semi-final and Spurs beat them, didn't he? Or is that
Spurs
not the quarterfinal?
Spurs beat Ajax in the semis.
Yeah, sorry, that was the quarterfinal. All right, okay. Just to counter that, would you consider Manchester City's treatment of their two previous managers, both league winners, by the way, ruthless? The season after winning the title, they didn't win the title, and they were both sacked.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So why haven't they done that with Pep? Why wasn't he sacked last year?
Pep is the biggest managerial name in football, arguably, and that's what Manchester City are about.
No, it's not just that. If you've proven that you are a ruthless football club, that if the manager is not hitting their objectives, then they're going to be sacked, which is the name of the game for pretty much every football club, and it's certainly the name of the game for Manchester City. Then they're going to be sacked. Why wasn't Pep Guardiola sacked last season? The only trophy they won last year was the League Cup.
Because he's the biggest managerial name in football.
No, it's because it's because he's proven that he's more than capable of leading them to their ultimate goal, I would say, which is to win the Champions League. But I don't think Manchester City would for a second swap one Champions League title for the eight titles, domestic trophies that Guardiola has won for them, because he's made them the dominant English team. Just because he hasn't done it in Europe, I don't think discards all of what he has done.
No, it certainly doesn't discard it. And that's the last thing I want to do, is discard his own achievements, because like I said, what he has done domestically has been fantastic. But with the financial resources available over a league season, the team that has a squad twice as big as all the other squads is expected to win the league, because they can rotate.
It's not twice as big. Every
so they have two players as good as each other for every single position.
You didn't say that. You didn't say quality. You said twice as big. The biggest squad. It's not. It's the same size. Why do?
You said that they have more 40-50 million pounds than anybody else, and they do, because they have two players for every single position. Nobody else can afford to do that. They can rotate any single position.
Chelsea have that. Arsenal almost have to. I know that they're not of the same quality, but they can still. Arsenal can field a different side for the Europa
Chelsea's
League.
Chelsea's first team isn't even good enough for the top four, let alone their second team.
Yeah,
because they reserves could possibly win the league.
Wait, because both Chelsea and Arsenal have bought poorly. Those signings have not worked out. They both spent a lot of money, but those signings haven't worked out.
Joe, Arsenal's matchday squad isn't worth $750 million.
No, it isn't, but it's worth a lot of money. It's the fourth most expensive squad in the league, and
it probably puts it as under half of that.
I don't know the exact. I'd need to have to look at the one to the first year's 1 to 11, but it's certainly
Manchester
a lot of money.
City's bench the other day was worth £350 million.
Because, like I said earlier on, they have the highest collection of 40-50 million pound players in
so they are expected to win the league every season.
Can you expect a team to win the league every season?
Do you expect Bayern to win the league every season?
Yes, because they pick off the league's best talent. Manchester City don't do that.
No, but they have another reason. They have another advantage going for them.
Rafe, to achieve a monopoly in the league, you have to be picking off the best talent of your competitors, and you have to be doing it consistently. City do that sporadically. The majority of the time. Rafe, what were we saying about Ruben? Rafe, wait. What were we saying about City early on in the season? That they hadn't rectified their defensive issues, that Ruben Dias didn't look like. What were they doing signing a player like Ruben Dias? Why weren't they signing someone who was proven in the Premier League? And look at the player that Ruben Dias has turned out to be. Look at the leader he has turned out to be this season. It has been because of their defensive solidity that they have been able to mount this title. It's not even a title challenge, that they've been able to sustain this title assault. And that's to their credit. I mean, they spent a lot of money on him, but there was no guarantee that he would come in and succeed. Joao Cancelo, the same could be said of him. There was no guarantee that he would come in and succeed. Even the likes of Ilkay Gundogan, he had been anonymous. I mean, he had been a bit part player. Maybe anonymous is a bit harsh, but he had been a bit part player over the past 3 seasons for City. This season
he's a World Cup winner that they can just pull in out of the cold whenever one of their other stars gets injured. And this is what I'm saying.
But he hadn't been doing it before. So why is he doing it now? I suppose because of the quality of player he is, and now that the likes of David Silva have moved on, he's stepping up to the plate. But he hadn't been playing like this before.
No, and look, again, credit to Manchester City's recruitment. They have got it right. They've if anybody else had the money, they would spend it. I'm not saying that they don't deserve to win the league because they've spent so much money. I'm saying they absolutely deserve to win it. They're expected to win it. But ultimately, I'm saying that the best teams are judged on how they perform in the world's top tier competition, the elite competition, the best of the best, where all of the teams from Europe come to play, all of the big stars, all the big managers go head to head. And Man City haven't been able to do that in the big games.
I agree. I agree that they haven't been able to do. I mean, obviously they haven't done it in the Champions League yet.
And look, Guardiola has won the Champions League twice. He that great Barcelona team, or maybe even it was twice with Messi. And I'm not saying he is a bad manager. I'm asking if is his Manchester City legacy currently above where Jurgen Klopp's legacy is now, for example.
Yes. Well, I mean, This is a tricky question with Klopp,
because Klopp
it's more so the domestic with Klopp because he broke a 30-year hoodoo for
that's England's the one Liverpool wanted,
second greatest or joint greatest team ever. With Manchester City, Pep has made a previously anonymous club, but yet one that had recently come into significant financial power and had won the league twice since their owners took over. When did Pep join? 2016. Their owners took over in 2009, so twice in 7 years. And Pep's now going to win it 3 in 5 years. And as well as that, there's a number of FA Cups and League Cups and Charity Shields. Okay, is fantastic. This is the thing. I think probably because who's going to leave the bigger legacy? Pep's outgunning Klopp in the Premier League.
If they were both to leave at the end of this season, who do you think would be remembered more fondly by their fans?
I know 100% Klopp will be remembered
because he brought the big one
Liverpool
home.
Fans. Yeah, but even if Pep wins the Champions League with City, Liverpool fans are a funny bunch. I mean, the main thing I have in common with Liverpool fans is the Beatles. One of the Beatles in the background there. Liverpool fans are a funny bunch. They're very attached to their managers.
I read Liverpool fans referred to as the cult on social media the other day.
Well, I mean, Liverpool fans would probably have a higher opinion of Rafa Benitez than Manchester City fans do of Pep Guardiola.
That's assuming City have any fans.
This is the other thing. It's very hard to judge City fans because they're not so vocal on Twitter in comparison to Liverpool fans. I mean, of course, Pep Guardiola is a Manchester City legend.
Of course. Look, no one's debating that. He's a Premier League legend. Of course,
but do you know what it is? Do you know what it is? He is not City's guy. He's Barca's guy. That's another thing. He's absolutely in the way that Klopp is not Dortmund's guy. Klopp is not synonymous with Dortmund. He's not a Dortmund guy. Pep is a Barcelona. I mean, the guy wears a Catalonia Independence lapel pin, doesn't he, from time to time? Like, he's so synonymous with Barcelona Football Club that no matter what he does with City, I think that he can never be integrated to the fabrics of the club as City fans might like him to be, because he's a Barcelona guy.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, talking about great British or
no, Klopp. The collectivism about Liverpool, the nature, the city, the relationship between the city and the football club, the two football clubs, the the union, the trade unionism, the working class nature of the city, the history of the city. I think it very much chimes with what Jurgen Klopp seems to believe. And like whenever there are sometimes pictures of him out drinking with fans in a very casual way, and I think that contrast that with Pep, who's like this slick modern corporate guy who seems to seamlessly. I mean, to be fair, Pep does fit in with the City model very well, but I think the Klopp and Liverpool have a little bit more of a harmonious, natural fit to each other.
Where do we rank the greatest Premier League managers or English managers or British managers? I mean, there's obviously a case that Sir Alex Ferguson sits on top. I mean, a lot of Liverpool fans would tell you that Bob Paisley has as much of a right to be up there as well.
Can we limit it to Premier League era just for convenience? Like neither of us watched those great Liverpool
Paisley or
Paisley
Clough.
or Clough, or I mean Herbert Chapman, Arsenal's first great manager in the 1920s and 30s. Like
obviously Shankly and Busby as well, and
we weren't around in the 60s, 70s and 80s to watch them and see what their teams were like. I would, from what I've read, I would always put Brian Clough high up there because of his achievements with Derby County and Nottingham Forest. But
these names that we're talking about now, everybody that we've mentioned, they've all won a European Cup, at least one. Jose. Has Jose won it with an English team?
No,
he hasn't.
He's won one, and he won it with Inter Milan. No, he won two with Porto as well. Yeah, two. Yeah.
Did he win any with Madrid?
No. He won the league with Madrid. I mean, what I've
where
always
does Jose
thought,
rank against Pep and Klopp?
I mean, Jose ranks ahead of Klopp. In terms of his career, he ranks ahead of Klopp.
In terms 100%. Of Premier League success,
Jose's
legacies at English clubs.
Jose's won three leagues with Chelsea. Jose made Chelsea. Chelsea would not be what they are right now without Jose. 100%. Ranieri wasn't doing it. He wasn't getting them there. Jose came in and he made Chelsea a force. That Chelsea side, the Drogba, Terry, Lampard, of 2005 to 2007, unbelievable. That made Chelsea be able to be successful under Ancelotti. It made Chelsea that made Chelsea the football club it is. They wouldn't be where they are without Jose Mourinho. I'd still put Mourinho ahead of Klopp for now. I mean, I put Mourinho ahead of Arsene Wenger, and I think Arsene Wenger is just incredible. And he has to be in that top 5 Premier League managers of all time.
Especially for his influence on the game as well. He's another one that never won the European Cup. I think it was a European Cup to his name. His legacy is entirely different as well.
It is. And I think for that Arsenal team, I mean, they should have won a European Cup before 2006, before they got to the final. How that invincible side, and this is the big black mark against Wenger, is his dismantling of that Invincibles team. I mean, that's unforgivable. They were all gone within 3 years. They were all. It's just mad. But he's one whose reach goes beyond trophies, just because of how he influenced the.
Is Guardiola the same, and Mourinho to a degree as well, and even Klopp? They've all had strong footballing philosophies that maybe even stretch beyond results on the pitch.
Yeah, definitely. Interestingly, I think Mourinho is the one who's most grounded in results on the pitch.
Yeah, but I mean, he did establish this mentality and almost lay a blueprint for title winners that you just do not lose at home. You turn your home ground into a fortress. You take a point on the road if you have to, and I suppose maybe shifting from what we saw about United was this, where Manchester United we want to attack. And even though they always had a strong defense, that you saw wingers flying down the pitch and they were relentless. United would always look to score goals. One goal was never enough for them, They'd always need a second or a third and they'd look to bury you. Whereas if you went a goal down to a Jose Mourinho team, it was game over.
Yeah, it was curtains. That's always been how he's done it. Man, I mean the 5 are Ferguson, Wenger, Mourinho, Klopp, and Pep, right?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it has to be
Yeah.
in our lifetime, at least since the turn of the millennium.
Yeah. It's those.
Well, look, let's stick with Jose Mourinho for a minute, because he's obviously, I can see you suddenly start to smile now. He's the bookies' favourites to be sacked, as we mentioned last week, and they lost again 2-1 to West Ham over the weekend. Now, look, West Ham are absolutely flying. Let's not forget that. They've beaten much better teams than Spurs this year.
What a job David Moyes has done as well.
I mean, absolutely fantastic. We're not going to stick him in that conversation just yet. But, I mean, we knew after lockdown resumed at the turn of the season, at Christmas, we've been saying all along that this was a house built of cards that was going to fall apart at some 100%. Stage. And since the new year, it has. It's been absolutely smashed aside, and it's really, really difficult to see where Spurs are going to go from here. I suppose the only question I have is how long are they going to keep the faith with Mourinho? You know?
Yeah, I think until the League Cup final. If they lose,
but that's in May this year, Joe.
Yeah,
they could be 14th or 15th by that stage.
They could easily be. I mean, I think they'll finish.
And they're playing Man City, like we've just spoken about Man City.
Yeah. I firmly expect them to lose. I don't think Mourinho will be sacked before the League Cup final. I think that he will have a hold on Daniel Levy that
a financial grip on him anyway, because of the size of his contract. He won't want to pay that out.
Yeah, of course. And there's no breaking clause in that contract. I mean, this is one of the most daft decisions in recent memory for Spurs to sack Mauricio Pochettino. It's such an anti-Spurs thing to do. I mean, I love to go on about all the. It's such an anti-Spurs thing to do. It really was to a point, Mourinho. But no, I think that Mourinho's track record in finals is very good, and for that reason, in a one-off game, Levy will, until proven otherwise, back him to win that. And to break their duck in regards to silverware. I don't think that they will win it. I think Mourinho will be promptly dismissed after that, after Spurs having finished.
Even if they do win it, so they win the League Cup, they end there, whatever it is, 17-year wait for a trophy, and they finish 10th, 11th, 12th, even 8th, wherever you like. What's the plan for next season? Like, surely they can't keep them.
I don't think that they can, because this season has gone so poorly. I mean, it's much worse than last season. It's much worse than the start of the season. Absolutely nothing is going right for them at the moment. They
have all of their players available as well. I mean, they're missing the right back in Doherty, but he hasn't been great, and Aurier as well. But neither of them have particularly set the world on fire.
No, I think the biggest discredit to Mourinho is how shaky they are at the back, and how unstructured they look, and how easily West Ham were able to carve them open in the opening 50-60 minutes over the weekend. And I mean, West Ham are in very good form, and Spurs are in very, very poor form. But I mean, even in all of their games, what have they've lost 4 of their last 5, winning 1. They're in desperate form, and they need to change that very soon. But I can't see it changing. I think that we said it earlier on in the season, Rafe, that as long as they were winning, playing the style of football, then players would buy into it. As soon as results fade away, the players will have had enough, because it's just not fun to be playing that style of football and to be approaching games in that manner when you're not picking up results.
A point on Spurs' old manager, who's now gone to PSG, and he seems to have turned the tide there in Mauricio Pochettino. Obviously, PSG went on to the Champions League final last year. Do you give them any chance of winning it this year?
Yeah, I do. But this is the thing. It's such a difficult... I mean, this is what did for Unai Emery. It was what did for Thomas Tuchel, although there are other... Those managers their man management skills were not very good. Basically, they're tacticians. Their man management skills weren't there to manage that squad. Pochettino perhaps does have those skills. Rafe, it's so difficult to win that competition. The competition in if I'm thinking about the 4 semi-finalists, I think will be there. It's going to be it's going to be Liverpool. It's going to be Manchester. I'm still back Liverpool to get there. Manchester City, Bayern Munich, and Paris Saint-Germain. I think that's what we're looking at. How could you pick a winner from those four?
No Spanish clubs.
No. No
Juventus. And I suppose they're down at the moment, aren't they?
Well, I still expect them to go through against Porto, but I thought they were dreadful in that game. I mean, unless someone like a Borussia Dortmund, if Haaland really fires them, but I expect that to be the semi-finalists. There might be one surprise, but
say PSG do win it. Is Pochettino the man then to take over from Guardiola?
I mean, good luck prizing him away. If he's winning the Champions League at PSG, being paid the amount of money, I mean, guaranteed he'll get a pay rise if he wins the Champions League. You'd only be taking him away if he got sacked, if things started to go south. And I mean, why would City sack Guardiola? Why would Guardiola leave City? He's just signed a new long-term contract, and he's going to win the league again. He's there for the long term, it seems now.
Fair enough.
I had something. I lost my train of thought. I'm so sorry. I tried a couple of
times. That's okay. And I know I keep coming back to this European Cup and Pep Guardiola, but it has been.
Yeah.
I actually couldn't believe.
Have you been dreaming about this?
No, man. No. I've been having nightmares about school placements.
Yeah.
No, man, I was genuinely astonished. This is the reason I keep going on about it. I was astonished to discover that Pep Guardiola had not been to a Champions League final in 10 years. I honestly couldn't believe that when I read that. When you think about the Bayern team that he managed and the Man City team that he's managed and the money that's been spent, 1.2 billion, 1.25 billion pounds for the record over 10 years.
Rafe doesn't have a conspiracy against Pep Guardiola, by the way, for any listeners.
Well, I might have an agenda, but there's no conspiracy. But the money has been spent. It's there to see. They haven't been in the final. He hasn't been in the semi-final. You think back to his Bayern Munich times when they were absolutely battered 5-0 at home by Real Madrid.
Yeah, well, I mean, did he do? I don't think he did anything out of the ordinary with Bayern Munich. I think that he's doing things that are out of the ordinary with Manchester City. But I don't think with Bayern Munich he was doing anything particularly special, even though he had great success there domestically. I mean, Bayern Munich are 100% expected to win. Bayern Munich win the league every year.
Do you think that there's a danger that we might see that become the norm in England now?
Yeah, we've had this discussion, maybe, but I also think that the league, that English football is too competitive. Who the challenger will be is strange, because Liverpool look like they need to reinvent themselves again at the moment. I could be proven wrong on that, but certainly if you're going on form, Liverpool look like they're not best placed to mount a title challenge this season or next. And then does that fall to Manchester United? Does it fall to Chelsea? Does it fall to Leicester?
No. is the short answer.
Yeah, this is the thing. I mean, I can't even put Spurs or Arsenal in that conversation for obvious reasons. They're just so far behind the rest.
I mean, Leicester obviously won the league in 2016, but there was a massive drop off from everybody else that did open that door for them, and they do. I don't think that they have the resources to challenge Manchester City over a 38 game season at the moment. And no matter how brilliantly Rodgers does, this Manchester City team, we all know, are capable of putting up over 100 points on any given season. And to be honest, we're surprised this season when it doesn't look like they're going to hit 90 or 95. That comes as a shock. You know, Leicester City won't be able to do that. Chelsea, look, if Tuchel gets it spot on and they continue to invest and strengthen the squad, then there is a possibility, but everything has to go right. You know?
Yeah, this is the thing. Like, Pep is just a much better manager than Tuchel. I think that even if Tuchel does assemble the squad that he really wants and he's got it, you know, he's got the tactics right, I would still fancy Pep over him. But I mean, you wouldn't fancy you
And look, let's not write Liverpool off already for next season. They have their fit players back. You know, maybe they have taken it a bit easy this year on whatever caffeine or painkillers they were doped up on last year. Maybe they relaxed the dose a little bit this year, so they can go again next year.
I tell you what, Rafe. I tell you what, they need to start giving them
back on the Red Bulls.
They start introducing them immediately. No, I mean, this is another thing. I think that Liverpool's Champions League position next year is under serious threat. At the moment, I mean, Liverpool need to start winning football matches. It's as simple as that. You can like immediately, Rafe. It's very. I'd be very worried if I was a Liverpool fan, because
Liverpool the longer this goes, United on Sunday.
Well, that's just a great opportunity to get back to winning ways. But Liverpool have also picked up a couple of wins in recent weeks, but then lost consecutive games again. So
the game after that is Chelsea next week. And that's possibly one of the biggest games of Liverpool's season. Now, obviously, every league game from now till the end of the season is going to be the biggest game of the season, because the points become more and more valuable as it goes on. And I suppose the prayer that Liverpool fans have been making all season finally looks like it, well, not all season, all year, looks like it's going to be answered, that Diogo Jota is due to return to training tomorrow, which is going to be a massive boost to rest one of those front three players in Firmino or Sadio Mane, because those guys look a shadow of themselves. So it's finally something different that Klopp can do that isn't Origi or Shaqiri or Oxlade-Chamberlain or guys that aren't at that level, you know. Finally, go on.
No, you finish your point and then I'll jump in.
No, just finally, he might have an option. Everyone, the pundits on TV are, Liverpool need to do something different. You know, they need to change the shape, or, you know, play with an extra striker, or change the personnel because these guys don't look up. But if you look at the guys that aren't in the starting 11 right now, they're nowhere near good enough to be in the team. So even if the starting 11 are out of form, now hopefully finally he will have the chance. Fabinho's coming back this week as well, to potentially rotate one or two of those players and actually pick the team rather than play the team that he's been forced to play.
And this is another thing. I mean, whereas City's reserve options at the moment seem to be brilliant, Liverpool seem to be not up to standard at all, even though Liverpool have, certainly on Oxlade-Chamberlain, they spent a good bit of money.
Certainly he was 40 million pounds. Naby Keita was 60 odd million pounds or whatever. Yeah. I'm not saying that Liverpool haven't invested, but I mean, the guys that have been, Ox obviously has been destroyed by injuries over the last couple of years, and he's a shadow of his former self. But yeah, I get your point. The options aren't there. Liverpool had the chance to cash in on Divock Origi a couple of years ago. You know, I'm sure that Shaqiri could have been sold over the summer, but because of the policies at the club, Edwards refuses to sell for anything lower than 150% of the expected transfer value.
I know. And now you're going to be in a position where you have to offload these players for less than their market value, I would imagine. This is a really tricky thing. Like one bad season does for the value of players. 2 bad seasons, you have to be releasing players. It's not good. But look, Rafe, last season we were talking about Manchester City and the way that we're talking about Liverpool now, and that their players weren't up to it. You know, certainly the likes of Rodri was getting a lot of criticism. It's just swings and roundabouts. It's just form at the end of the day. I'd expect Liverpool to be back among it next year. They just look like they need this season to end, but unfortunately, that's not a possibility. And if it did, that would not be a positive outcome at all for Liverpool Football Club. So they need to find a way to start winning football matches.
Yeah, no, look, it's that simple. It is. And look, that's it. Right. I suppose the last thing, Joe, that we want to talk about on the show, maybe give a quick note to Brighton. Because we were arguing with Barry Glendenning last night on Twitter about whether or not Graham Potter is up for the job at Brighton to finish off our talk about managers today. And I just think it's absolutely absurd that people want to get rid of him. You know, I really don't know what people want from that football club.
What's Brighton's? Surely Brighton's the expectations for Brighton is 17th. Anything above that is
what they can
as a
dream
bonus.
of, man. They have the lowest budget
Yeah.
in the league. They have the smallest fan base. The wages that they pay the players are tiny. You know, the manager is probably the worst paid manager in the league. You know, what do they want? All they need is a goal scorer, and they'd be in the top half. You know.
Yeah, I mean, Jesus Christ, I don't want to get bogged down talking about XG. I'm not the biggest. What XG seems to do is it seems to save managers' jobs. That if you're analyzing it, it's like, oh, we were unlucky here because so and so didn't score, or there was this extenuating circumstance. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a results business. It's not an XG business. It was bizarre to look that Crystal Palace had 2 touches inside Brighton's box last night.
Yeah,
and both touches found the back of the net.
Brighton created 23 chances or something like that. And look, obviously,
they had 25 shots.
25 shots. Yeah.
They had 75% possession. They were due to score 2.7 goals, and Palace were due to score 0.2 goals. But Palace won. At the end of the day, all that matters is the result, unfortunately. But I mean, yeah. But what can Graham Potter be expected to do with a shoestring budget and a squad of the depth of Brighton and Hove Albion's? I would say that he's on about par, maybe punching a little bit of
overachieving.
Well,
we talk about well-coached teams like Bielsa and Leeds are the same. They're well coached. With a better striker, they could be even further up the table as well.
Yes, but I mean, certainly West Brom and Sheffield United. I'd expect Brighton to be above West Brom, Sheffield United, and Fulham, and Newcastle actually, because Steve Bruce is not a good manager, and because Newcastle's squad is very imbalanced, and because all the issues with the owner have such a negative impact on the football club.
The thing is that they are, though. They're ahead of Sheffield United, West Brom, Fulham, Newcastle, and they're 2 points behind Burnley.
That's what I'm saying. So I'd expect. I'd maybe expect them to because Dyche has proven to be pretty decent at keeping Burnley. Yeah, I'd expect them to be about there, 16. But the thing is, like when you watch them, they look better.
They're 4 points off this Southampton team. Like Ralph Hasenhüttl was tipped with the Chelsea job when it was vacant only a few weeks ago. You know.
Well, that's how quickly things change in football.
Right. So we're united against Glendenning on this one, are we?
Yeah, firmly united against Barry Glendenning on this one.
Okay, mate. Well, look, we'll leave it there for today. It's been a good talk. I know we don't agree on everything, but so we've concluded that Jurgen Klopp is the greatest Premier League manager of all time. Is where we're leaving that one, is it?
Apparently, I'll let you. Yeah, sure. Why not?
And Guardiola is a fraud from Catalonia with no hair.
Yes, something like that. I know a few Manchester United fans who might disagree with the Klopp being named the best Premier League manager.
Yeah. All right. Well, look, mate, we'll be back next week, and we'll talk to you then.
Perfect.
Stop the recording, maybe.